I left because I respect myself more than what I was being respected there.
Mm-hmm.
That's legit. When I came to ESPN, I was right out of college. I was single. Didn't know A to B, up from down, whatever. I was still figuring myself out. The time I left ESPN, I was a wife. I was a mom of 2. I was a homeowner. I had built a house. I had just built a house when we left.
And that was the second one.
And that was my second one. I knew I deserved more, but I didn't know what. And I knew as a Black woman working there, I would never get it.
To grow up in Baltimore City and graduate from Morgan State University is something that a lot of people can take for granted. People will look at you and say, oh, you just went to Morgan. It's not really looked as prestigious. I think now in this era, as we're starting to pay more homage to HBCUs, we start to see more respect. But it wasn't always that way. Then, when you go to a company like ESPN, oh, you're the man or you're the woman. Before I had the pleasure of representing Morgan State University at the 4-letter, a good friend of mine, a former classmate, Alexandria, was there first. And she is the guest on today's show. Alexandria comes on to discuss her time there and how she went to ESPN young, fresh out of college, just like myself. But she, in fact, left, came back a wife and a mother of 2 children. So we talk about that. We talk about why she left. And we also talk about how she got married at midnight for the whole world to see. So, ladies and gentlemen, here's an interview that's been long overdue, and that is with Alex Gibilisco. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on the line, I have somebody, dare say, y'all know I worked at ESPN, who really was the first person to help me get comfortable, and that is the one and only Miss Alexandria Gibilisco. How you feeling, Alex?
Well, look at you saying it right. I'm okay. I'm okay. You said my name right. I'm good now.
Shout out to Matt.
I was waiting for you to mess it up.
Oh man. Well, that's because I met you. You was Alex bowling, and then obviously we met at Morgan State University.
Whoop whoop.
And then you went to ESPN and came back with a husband.
And 2 kids.
2 kids, not one, but 2
kids, not 1, 2. He did it twice.
How you feeling today?
I'm good. Can't complain, man. Can't complain.
Oh, man. So I'm grateful to finally be able to get a chance to talk with you. We're going to talk about the great 4-letter, of course, place that used to be our employment. I was in and out. You did some time there, did longer time there.
Some time. I did a stint, man. Stint, jumper and everything. Jumpsuit.
Before we get, she said jumpsuit. Before we get there, though, when did you decide that you wanted to get into the media business? We met in shout out to Professor Brown.
Professor Brown.
His journalism class, which I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him on social media or nothing. He's
nothing. Quiet.
Yeah.
I have to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, but that's we met in his writing class. But when you was a senior at the time, when did you decide this was what you wanted to do with your life?
I've always wanted to be in sports. I knew that. I grew up obviously in a family where sports was everything. Dinner time was always around the game. Being basketball, football, and it went on and on.
Shout out to your mom too. I had the pleasure of watching Bulls and Cavs game with her at your house.
Listen, my mama
that
cool,
Memorial
man.
Day.
My mama real cool. But no, I wanted to be in sports my whole life. I don't know if I ever knew exactly what I wanted to do in sports, and I think getting to ESPN was legit God's plan because I almost messed that up. Fun times. Me and this mouth. But no, I knew I wanted to be in sports. I felt like I maybe would be with a team doing something, but as God would have it, I was an editor at ESPN.
Yeah. Now, when did what made you choose Morgan State for college? I know you did. You went to Virginia
I went to
West
West
Virginia. Yeah,
Virginia,
West Virginia.
Mountaineer. My mom got sick.
Okay.
So let's see. I graduated in 2007. I went to West Virginia. Toward the end of my freshman year, my mom got like really sick. My mom has radioactive airways disease. It's basically just something with your lungs. Your lungs don't heal or adapt as quickly as the common person. So it was like like when you go into a store for the holidays, that scent, that extremely
Hmm.
like deep scent, for her, it makes her cough and just like breathe heavy, all that good stuff. We didn't know how severe it was then, but being the oldest, I knew being at West Virginia, where I almost missed Christmas because the snow was just not the place to be.
Hmm.
So I just looked for schools at home, and I was actually studying to be a forensic at West Virginia. And I had like really good grades. Hey, but coming to Morgan, I needed something quick and fast. We didn't know, it was early on for my mom, so we just didn't know what would happen. I knew I needed to get in and out because I had a little brother behind me who was going to college. So it was like, okay, let me get in and out. So just in case I have to help or take over somewhere, I
Hmm.
can help.
So wait, how you go growing up in sports, having a sports family, to forensic science?
Listen, man, I'm a damn genius. Let's be honest. No, but seriously, I am insanely smart. Not to toot my own horn. I'm very, very
And you
smart
know
with
me, I like
science
when
and stuff.
people and my friends and family put themselves over. So continue.
Yeah, I mean, not to, toot my horn with BB. I'm extremely intelligent. Science, math, all that good stuff, I get it. It's the way my brain thinks and everything. But to be a forensic, you would have to be in school for literally ever. And I
Hmm.
didn't have forever at that time. I had a family at home I needed to take care of, and journalism was an easy money. Oh, write some papers, do some criminal justice work. Okay. Okay.
So you decided to pick up journalism. What was some of like the internships you did while at Morgan?
I did one, let me think. So I went all the way to Alabama for my internship, which helped me graduate in 2011
Hmm.
because I did my internship at Morgan at, oh God, what is it called? It's a station near the harbor. I did, I can't even remember the name of it now. But again, this mouse, the person in charge there said something ill, and I told her I was gonna beat her up, and she told my teacher, and then my teacher tried to fail me. But God, yet again, thank Jesus, got his hands on me. Not the mouth. Every once in a while, I think he forgets the mouth,
No,
but
he gave it to you, so he understands.
every once in a while, I'm like, ooh, Jesus, ooh, you gotta do something. Um, but I went to Alabama, and I went, one of my mom's best friends had worked there at the time in television, worked at a local station. I was able to go there for a week and
Hmm.
nonstop do it like they did, get up stupid early. And then I did a night shift and all that stuff, and came back and was able to graduate.
Oh wow. So
Yeah. Yeah, man.
you talking about your mouth. Let's
Ooh,
get into it.
ooh,
ESPN. I remember the story
ooh.
of how you telling people, how did the opportunity come about for you to get to the four letter?
Okay, so the same friend that my mom had who worked in Alabama was a member of NABJ.
Hmm.
And had mentioned it like, oh yeah, you should go, blah, blah. And I was like, listen, I need to figure out what's going on with my mom. I don't even have money like that. I don't know my next move. I just don't need to graduate. Like that's just, let me graduate and enjoy my summer and then be done with life for a little while. But no, so I didn't, oh my God, NABJ, if y'all listen to this, don't be mad. I totally didn't have a pass. I was
Don't.
not a member. I love it, ABJ. Y'all my peoples. Listen, I'm here to help. I will repay my debt. I'm here for y'all. Um, but like he slid me the little key card thing to get in there, and
Mhm.
hey, I walked around for a little bit. I met Jamel Hill, met a couple different people that day. Ended up going to the ESPN table where I met AJ Watson, who is my fairy godfather, and the godfather of one of my sons. And he was like, man, you got a lot of potential. And then I was like, I remember saying to him, dog, don't try me. Like, just shake my hand and go. Like, like, look, I went to Overly High School. Okay. I'm sitting here talking to somebody from ESPN talking about I have a shot to be at ESPN. I just graduated college. Like literally, I graduated in May. I think it was
August.
August,
Mm-hmm.
August that year, something silly.
That was in Philly,
And
right?
in Philly. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, and that's the only reason why I went, because it's quick drive from where we at, whatever. Um, and so like when he said it, he was like, yeah, I'm sure. Like, give me a call, send me your resume. I'm like, no, not doing any of that. Like, thanks. But I'm sure you say this to everybody, keep going, whatever. I ended up giving him my resume, obviously, and it had my email on it. I never emailed him. I legit thought he was full of crap, and he emailed me and was like, "Hey, if you remember me from NABJ, I'm looking for your resume." And I'm like, who? Okay. He's like, "Yeah, I'm from ESPN. Do you remember?" I'm like, "Okay, here, take this and go." Like, just a douchebag. I shouldn't have got this.
Oh
So
man.
ends up looking at my resume, tweaked it a little bit, and then I ended up getting the interview. So let's see, that was in August. I interviewed maybe early September, and then got hired, and it was
Mm-hmm.
supposed to start in October. But that year at ESPN, they had the craziest snowstorm in like October,
Mm-hmm.
where they got a ridiculous, like, power was out, everything. So like the manager who had hired me ended up calling, and she was like, "Hey, I know you're supposed to start in October, but there's no power hardly anywhere. You can't come, blah blah." They wanted me to start in November, but that's Thanksgiving, so that answer was no. I said no to that one. I was like, "How about December?" And they're like, "Okay, great." And then I started.
Now, before we get into there, because you brought up something, NABJ, was it a? Did they have at Morgan at the time? Because you was there when it was still the Department of Communications.
Yes.
I graduated. By the time I graduated the next year, it became the School of Global Journalism. Did they
Right.
have the organization at the school?
No.
Okay, and I think.
Not that I know. And if they did, it was not as big as I feel like it should have been. I think they maybe were just getting all the kinks out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of, getting that affiliation of journalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, because I know, so in 2011, 2012, most of 2012, and yeah, I remember hearing about it. And, Professor Jordan, shout out to her. She was the,
Now she's all retired. I talk to her often. She's so
right.
retired and enjoying life.
I know, right? Right after she got her tenure, too. She was like the overseer, but
Yes.
there wasn't the support to
Right.
get somebody else to let us know how important it was. And for
Right.
me, I found out, when Dwayne Wickham got there, he was
Oh,
one of the
okay.
founders. So when
Okay.
he took over and he showed us the whole vision of everything. And then
Mm-hmm.
2017, Morgan State is the chapter of the year.
Right.
And I was like, wow, and I remember when I was there
Yeah.
in 13, he paid for a lot of us to go. But,
Mm-hmm.
it sounded like you was solo.
I was solo. If I'm being real honest with you, I knew nothing about NABJ.
Mm-hmm.
When my mom's best friend had mentioned it, he was taking 2 or 3 other people. He had paid their way,
Okay.
from the Alabama station to fly to Philly to go to this NABJ, because he felt like it was that important,
Mm-hmm.
to go. But being at Morgan, which was historically Black, and Philly, which is, a skip stone from Morgan, it definitely wasn't spoken about as much.
Yeah.
Obviously now it's definitely bigger,
Well,
but
yeah,
even
and it really starts off with you.
yeah, but I honestly, I remember being there, and there were so many other schools that it
Mm-hmm.
had so many people from that school at NABJ. And then when you would look around, and it's like, "Oh, I went to Morgan," and like, "Okay, you here alone?" And it's like, "Well, yeah."
Yeah.
Ah.
So, we go to ESPN. So for me, I had Tramone Lucas on from WBAL, and one time he brought up it was him and somebody else had told me, they was like, "Man, we look at you as like the pioneer, because it's like one of our own made us, Brian at ESPN." And I always told them, y'all see me, I said, but there's no me there without Alex. I said,
Yeah.
Alex was somebody, for those who don't know, I'm gonna tell it. When I had my interview, you was like, "Okay, cool," because if you remember, you was on vacation that week.
Yes, I
And
came back.
every time you would always post on Facebook, I'm on vacation. No, I'm coming home. No, I can't get you a job. Leave me alone. So
Yes.
I went to NABJ. I get the interview. Shout out to Tracy Mack. And she was
Woo
like,
woo.
send me your resume. So then I'm like, that Friday, I said, hey, you still on vacation? No, but what's up? I said, look, I had an interview. I spoke with Tracy Mack and Aaron Hilton. And you was like, yeah, cool. You know,
I know Tracy. I know Aaron. Hey, let's
right.
go.
So I always tell people, like, you helped me, but what was your process like? You know, you get that call and you find out you're going to Connecticut.
First of all, I was working at Kohl's,
Mm-hmm.
and like when I got the call that I was finally going, this is after the snowstorm. I was working at Kohl's, so I had to get a job because it was holiday season. But it's a very surreal thing. I'm from Baltimore through and through. I may not live in the city and all that now, but I'm from Baltimore. A lot of us don't get out, and the ones that do, you kind of move in silence. You don't, really bring attention to yourself because you're just so proud to get out, and you got your whole family behind you, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
My mom is from Connecticut. She was born and raised before she moved here.
She told me that when
Um,
I asked her why she was bashing my Orioles.
yeah, right. Oh, don't even get her started. She's a Yankee fan.
I
Please
know.
make it make sense. Make it make sense. Like
Well,
Mets, maybe, but whatever. She's a bandwagon. I tell her all the time. Anyway, but no, to be from a single mom whose dad wasn't there 90% of the time. My dad and I have a great relationship now. He loves his grandsons. He loves my
that's
husband, all those
awesome.
things. But growing up, my dad was not there.
Mm-hmm.
Period, point blank. He will tell you that. He was not there. So growing up, seeing my mom struggle, me going to get accepted into West Virginia, leaving West Virginia to go to Morgan, you know, the whole path was lit up by God because none of it was supposed to happen. You understand what I'm saying? So getting that call more from my mom than me was excitement to show her like, yo, it paid off. Those nights you ain't know what the hell was going on. You didn't know where this, that, and the third was coming from. We gonna be all right. Little did I know I would be making like 32 grand in Connecticut. So we wasn't all right for a little while, but we good now though.
Oh yeah, 32 grand Connecticut ain't no joke. Did you live
Ooh.
in Bristol?
Yeah, near Cambridge. Oh, I think my rent was 830, 820, something like that. And I remember being too high. Here's how much I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
about Connecticut when I came. First of all, I thought Maryland was expensive. I'll take Maryland rent
Mm-hmm.
any day over Connecticut rent. But I was like, oh yes, I'm getting out of Maryland. I'm gonna be able to pay my bills. Mom send you a little money here and there. I remember my first paycheck when it came. I called my mom here. I was like, Mom, I don't have no groceries. She's like, did you pay your rent? I'm like, no, like I can't. Help me. My mom was sending me money for like the first 2 years.
Oh wow.
Broke City.
Oh man. So did you so like I said, I had you to help me bridge the gap, and then I would meet, a few other people who went to
Mm-hmm.
HBCUs. Did you
Mm-hmm.
find anybody that also went to Morgan, or perhaps any other HBCUs that you could connect with within your first few months?
So KJ Jarvis, she's a photographer,
Oh yeah.
bomb photographer,
Yep. Shout out to
short
KJ.
hair,
One of my
don't
favorite
care.
people.
Listen, short hair, don't care, muscles for days, bad, all of that. And then she's like 50, but looks younger than me. I'm not gonna question God's will, but cool. She
Black don't
is
crack.
someone, yo, right? Like, I mean, what you doing? Share. But she was someone who made sure that I knew everybody going in. And then I had like the Dana Lees of the bunch. And
Yep.
people used to call her Mama Dana because I think Dana got her job at ESPN right out of college. And she had been there for maybe 5 years
Mm-hmm.
before I got there. And she had knew everybody. And she helped welcome in all the Black girls and Black boys and stuff like that. And kind of like give you the tricks of the trade going in. Because at that point, when I got there, there wasn't a lot of Black people. 100%.
Okay.
And if it was, we were very like spread out. I had AJ Watson, but AJ was a manager in studio in being a manager couldn't say a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? Without someone, I don't know, overhearing and thinking whatever. But I had people who like latched on to me like glue. It was like, hey, this is what you're gonna do, this is what you're not gonna do, this is who we like, this is who we don't like. Stay clear of this one. This one's a little don't like us, but we'll smile in your face. You know, and you need that. In a big world like those 4 little letters, you need people.
Yeah. So what was the I guess to say, what was your first black cookout? Because I remember when I got there, you told me, you was like, look, wait till the time come. We gonna have black parties. And you know what the
Church
crazy thing
Street.
is? You was never one that I was at. And we went to
hey,
work
I'm busy,
schedule.
man. I'm busy, man. I'm an editor.
I know. I was because I remember, so I had met Maya Jones, shout out to Maya, over
Hey,
Twitter.
Maya.
And the first time I saw her was when she was bringing you the magazine. I forgot what magazine it was. Like one day we were sitting outside. Believe it or not, it was actually a warm day in Connecticut.
They're very far and few between.
Yeah.
There's it's cold there. It's
And
cold there.
she had brought she was bringing a magazine. I was like, oh, and Maya had took me to Keith Reed's house for a Christmas party.
Yep.
And then I went over there again for a playoff game.
Keith used to have all of the football parties post Church Street. So I don't remember. I'm trying to think. I can't remember if Church Street was as big as it was when you were there. I think that's kind of like when Keith started taking over, because that's when everyone started to move out, like go their own way from ESPN. But Church Street was the first Black gathering place in Connecticut for our people.
Oh, okay.
Yep, Church Street. And it was a house that had 3 or 4 bedrooms, and it was always housed by Black guys. Yao's Fish Fry was always out by the garage. Like, it was a thing. Actually, shout out to Yao. His the barbecue song, the video was shot at Church Street.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went away to college. When you came back to Morgan, did you live at home? Or did you say, okay, so the reason why I asked is for me, Connecticut was my going away to college for until me and the kid got married. But that was like my experience. Was it like that for you before you
I think I just lied. I lived on campus.
Okay.
My mom, I wanted to live at home because A, it was cheaper and I'm frugal. But my mom has said if you don't get the experience, you will regret it. So I lived at Tubman, Thurgood, and Morganview. I was only there 3 years.
Right. Okay. So did you feel like your first couple of years at ESPN was an extension?
No.
Okay.
Not really. Only because it's weird. Like when you work in TV, your schedule is so insane. Like if you were up, I know like people would plan things like day of or like the end of the day before, just because they know everyone's schedule is insane. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I worked overnights when I first started. So I would go in I went in at 4 at night and got off at 1:30 in the morning.
So what was your first assignment?
I was an editor when I got there, and I worked on like the sports centers and stuff like that when I first got there.
What was the first I guess the first edit that you made, like that really stood out to you, that you was like couldn't wait to tell everybody that you put that on television?
So I never really had one because Dick Vitale took my shine. I was on with Dick Vitale. I did Countdown with him quite a few times, and he kept putting me on Twitter and everything. And because my family followed Dick Vitale, they found out from Dick Vitale. And like I remember, like my mom texting, "You couldn't tell me your brother said you're on with Dick Vitale." And I'm like, "Well, how y'all know?" And they're like, "Oh, he tweeted out 10 minutes ago." I'm like, "Dang, can we get off the air first?" Like,
what was it like working with him?
He's hilarious. He is that loud, boisterous, animated voice is a real thing. It's not a game. It's not a gimmick. He talks like that all the time. He's very, very cool. Very, very cool. He called me Beyonce. He said, "Y'all didn't tell me I was working with Beyonce." And I was like, "Talk to me." Tell me.
I
Tell me some
never,
more.
I never crossed paths with him there.
He's somebody who, when he's there for a reason.
Yeah, I remember you telling me there's a lot of people like that.
Yeah, a lot of people who come through ESPN, especially like the older guys, the big name guys, if they're there for a reason. Whether it's like a commercial that's being shot, maybe a promo that's, coming out. Like when you do March Madness, it's always the beginning of that. They have a lot of the big names that just will do like a shot in a commercial or something like that. And that's all done on campus. So those guys have to fly in.
Yeah.
So it's probably something like that.
So what was the next thing you did after editing?
I went to studio. I was in a group, a program at ESPN called the Associates Program. What that was is they wanted to, so when you come to ESPN, you can come to ESPN with a whole lot of a background or a whole little of a background. And I say it that way because experience in television is different. You can come with a crap ton of experience and it'll mean absolutely nothing where you're headed. You can come with very little experience and that'll mean everything. Because the less experience you have at a station or at a network, the more they can mold you to be what they need you to be. And I say that because me coming from Morgan and hearing that I can make it at ESPN, that's where my mindset was like, I don't have no experience. I literally just graduated. And you're saying that I can come to ESPN because you think ESPN is high class. You got to have your stuff together, things like that. But in all reality, they want someone who is an uncut gem so they can mold and make you into whatever you need to be for them, which is kind of dope if you think about it.
Yeah. So I know I struggled trying to learn Quantel because I had
it's
learned,
very different.
Yes, I've never seen it again. When I mentioned it to people,
and you never will.
Right, they never heard
will.
of it. I think Tauntus told me it was a British program.
It is. It is a British program that is especially made for ESPN. You will never ever see it again.
Thank God. That makes me feel good. I love when I can get takeaways, knowing I don't have to see that again. In all fairness, it wasn't difficult. It was just different. Like,
it goes against everything you learn with Final Cut.
No, I learned 1 year semester on Final Cut. But the next semester, Morgan switched to Premiere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even when I went to intern at the Baltimore Sun, they had just switched to Premiere too. Okay. And I think because when Final Cut went from 7 to 10, people like us hated it because they made it dumb. They dumbed it down for consumers.
Right.
And everybody.
When in reality, Final Cut can't handle mainstream network. And I say mainstream like a big network, not like a little, you know what I mean? Not like a little network, like a big network, like a New York network is considered a big network outside of like a Fox or ESPN. It can't handle that. It can handle little things, just not what you need it for.
How fast it takes forever to render and stuff like that?
Yes, it's the render and it's the quality too. A lot of the time it's not as, so like a lot of TVs are like that 4K or that 1080p and things like that, and it doesn't render out. The longer it gets, the worse the quality gets because of the render.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what was it like? You said you went to the studio. What was that like?
A mess. Listen, no, I'm not getting behind nobody's camera. I am 5'4". Okay. I am 5'4" on my best day. Okay. It's cold in studios. I absolutely hate being cold. Not a fan. Nope. It's one thing. I'm glad I did it for the experience, but if I never ever have to do it again, it'll be too soon.
Which shows did you work on? Was it just Sports Center or did you work on different?
I did Sports Center, NFL Network. I did a lot of them. I even worked like with remote cameras too. There's like the little joysticks.
Yeah.
Did that too. Yep. Never want to do that again. I crashed one into a wall because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Yeah. Never want to do that shit again.
Oh man. I know. I had to prompt NFL Live. I hated prompting, but the best part was working with Trey Wingo. He was straight up down to earth.
He's cool.
Yeah. But So after that, was that when you became a master control operator?
Yep. After that, I became a master
And tell the
op.
people what that is for those who don't know.
Okay, so it's real easy. You know, when you're at home and you're watching TV and all of a sudden the screen go black, your cable works. Somebody fell asleep in the control room. That person might have been me. Don't call your cable company. Just wait for me to wake up so I can hit the button and resume your cable. That is, that's master control.
It was cool though. Like I remember going in there with you sometimes just to see how everything like looked.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Listen, master ops, I know like producers and directors and all that is top dogs. But no matter what they do, if a master op doesn't do their job, you'll never see it.
Mm-hmm.
You will never ever see it. They are the bridge between what goes on at a network and what you can see at home. For sure. When it comes to audio, they're the ones making sure that closed captioning is a thing. They are there to make sure everyone's on their P's and Q's. Hey, the sign isn't right. Things like that. We like master op people are legit the last line of defense to make sure things are on right.
Yeah. Now, what was some of your things you remember? Well, I got to bring this up. I remember one time you tweeted about watching a cricket game.
Ugh, listen. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I've sat through a lot of sports match. My first big baseball highlight was an Angels game, and I don't know who they were playing, but it went to like 16 innings, and the score ended up being like 1-0.
I can tell you why I remember that game
Oh my
because
God.
that was the night I remember waking up that morning because that was the weekend of my birthday. Shout out to our friend Michael Plater. He was
Hey,
up
Mike.
in Connecticut. He was there, he was hanging out for my birthday. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember getting up to take him back to the station, and Marcus Patton, shout out to Marcus, sat there and he said, something like, I love baseball, something sarcastic on Facebook. And I was like, wow, the Angels really been playing all night.
All
And they're
night,
West Coast team.
and it was awful. And it's like once you're in something like that and you're on the shift that I was on, you're not leaving till that game is done.
Mm-hmm.
It was awful. And that's kind of when I decided baseball sucks. But now my son really loves baseball and to play,
Yes.
so I might have screwed myself
Yes.
there. Fun times, everyone. As long I might have beer in my my little mug whenever he decides to play, but I'll be there. But I think I screwed myself.
Now, you've done. Can you talk about what it's like being a fan and working in sports, especially at a company like ESPN? Because people forget, like, you work in sports because you're a fan most of the time, unless you're just an editor
100%.
who loves
Right.
editing and don't know nothing.
Listen, that exists. There are a
Yeah,
lot of people who work at ESPN who don't give a crap about a team. That
right.
exists. It's very strange, but it exists.
Now, was you working the night the Ravens won the Super Bowl?
I was not.
Okay.
Well, I don't work there no more. I called out sick so I could watch the game. I went the next day though.
Oh
And I
man.
was like one of the people who helped hang the flag up when we got it in the studio.
Oh man, that must have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I told him I had like the flu or something, but I was there the next day. I just healed really fast.
Like they didn't know.
Whatever. Tomato, tomato.
Well, you had to call the number, so it's not like you had to talk to anybody, if I remember, right?
No, so here's the thing. You call the ESPN number when you call out. It
Mm-hmm.
depends on time you call. You call between 9 to 5, you getting somebody.
Oh.
You call after 5, you don't get nobody.
So
I went in at 4, so I had to call somebody when they was there. And you put your little yes, I just don't feel well. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay.
you know what, that's true. I think I called out twice. One time
That's
Jonathan.
it?
Yeah, really, that's it.
Oh my God.
One
You
time
need to do better.
one time Jonathan legitimately got sick, so I had to take him to the doctor. And then another time I was actually driving to Baltimore for a job interview.
Oh my God. I've called out so much on the highway. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
Well, I waited. It was because it was my sister's birthday week. It was her birthday, and the interview was on her birthday. So the night before, my mom was like, "Well, yeah, just come down. We'll have dinner." So I drove down. Then right before dinner, went up in my mother's room. Like, yeah, I won't be here. Yada yada yada. Boom. and took that drive back. Now, I remember we had talked about plotting if the Orioles was going to the World Series, calling out for the parade.
Just listen, we're going to figure it out. We
Yep.
going.
But can you talk about just some moments there, like some big sports moments there you was a part of, like work, whether it was working the finals or Super Bowl, World Series?
Let's see. So I was there around the time when Blake Griffin was doing all those crazy slams, those dunks where he was just doing it over people. And at the time we had the horn. Every time he would do a dunk, we would have this horn go off, everything. You're welcome. I made it. But one of the greatest things that I got to do is he dunked on someone and it looked like something out of a poster. And I remember like the PA saying, God, I wish there was a way that I can, make this as a poster. And I was like, done, let's do it. So I made it a poster and everything. And I remember we looked at it for it felt like hours, but obviously not because it's TV. We were like, something's missing on this poster. We were like, what? We hadn't seen a poster in years. So we were like, what the heck is missing on this poster? What do we do? I remember we had someone else come in, another editor, Mike Griffin, who is a homie. He came in and he was looking at it. He's like, man, all you guys are missing is a signature. And we're like, oh my God, we need a signature. What the heck does Blake Griffin's signature look like? So we got on Google, and this was like the top highlight of the night. And I remember we got on Google, and he was like, can anyone forge a signature and everything? Sorry, Mom, I can forge a signature. I've done it my whole life. So I remember saying, okay, how do we do this? Because of the way our rooms were, I needed someone to record my writing in another room because I had to highlight in my room. And so obviously Mike did it, and I remember forging it and doing it. It was awesome. And Blake Griffin actually tweeted it out of how cool it was. And it was so dope. I felt like I was on cloud nine. It was dope.
Man. When you talk about shoot, I lost my train of thought. Question. But is there ever a time you ever looked on social media after you maybe edited something or produced a show to see if somebody commented or said something about some of your work? You remember any of those moments?
I remember just looking at it some days and seeing stuff, but I can't tell you off the top of my head because it goes by so quick.
It do.
A lot of the times you do your stuff and it's on Sports Center, but then in the next game someone else does something fantastic and then it's on to the next highlight.
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of times when you in sports, it's always moving.
Yeah, and it's very fast.
Yeah, I had fun working in the social media department, but we're literally right there. So I might have to make a graphic and then I tweet it out, and then somebody might say something crazy like, "Oh, yo, use Microsoft Paint to do that job."
Oh, you do it. I'm like, you do it better then. Let's go. Yeah, you do it.
Exactly. So I gotta ask you the dreaded question. I'm pretty sure you done heard probably about.
Oh boy, I'm ready.
Why'd you leave?
Okay, I left because I respect myself more than what I was being respected there. That's legit. When I came to ESPN, I was right out of college. I was single. Didn't know A to B, up from down, whatever. I was still figuring myself out. The time I left ESPN, I was a wife. I was a mom of two. I was a homeowner. I had built a house. I had just built a house when we left.
And that was the second one.
And that was my second one. I knew I deserved more, but I didn't know what. And I knew as a Black woman working there, I would never get it. 100%, it's that simple. I had been there I left, I think October 6th, October 5th, which was 2 months shy of my 8-year mark. And I didn't care. All I knew was that I had a new baby at home, that I put through so much. I stressed out Pierce so much at my last year at ESPN with my pregnancy. I got into it a lot with someone who was a known racist at the company. I remember being in HR quite often, especially because my mouth got me in trouble because I couldn't do anything. I was huge pregnant with my son. but my mouth still worked, and I'm a fighter, so what's up? Um, I remember telling this guy, I will chop you down like a tree, because he was very tall and very, and I'm 5'4". And I remember sitting in the HR office and them talking to me about it and how I can't say these things and everything. And this was after this guy called me an idiot because I said I needed to eat because I was hungry and I was very pregnant. I knew then that was it. That was it. The guy eventually got fired because he did the same thing to a little white girl that he had done to me countless times. He did it to her once and the company let him go. And that was my straw. I was like, you know what? I'm here and I'm fighting for what? I gave everything that I could. I've helped so many along the way. A lot of the stuff, the way that, outside the lines looks, I did that. There's a lot of stuff I did that I never got accolades for, and I never knew that I would. My exit interview from the company, one of the managers asked me, he said, do you think your southernness is one of the reasons why you were never promoted within these walls? And I was like, honestly, no. And I think that's stupid to say. Just because I feel like I'm the type of person, if I made it and you need my help, done deal, you made it. Because if I can't help you, I know somebody who can. You know
I
what I'm
can
saying?
attest to that firsthand.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people who is like very protective of my spot. Listen, man, I just got here. I really don't want to rattle the cage. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to get my name out. I'm not like that. I'm rattling. Let's make some noise so that you can get to where you got to go. And hopefully you surpass me so that when I need help again, at some point, maybe you can help me out. That's just how I was. And that's a very unfamiliar thing within those walls because they aren't big in the Black community. They don't know. That's how a lot of Black people roll. Like, if I got it, you got it. Now, there's a couple of us who are very,
All folk, all skin folk, all kin
all
folk.
folk and kinfolk type people. But for the most part, that's how it is. And I knew I wouldn't get that there. I knew I would forever be behind, no matter how great I was, no matter who knew my name, anything like that. No matter what, I would always be behind. And it wasn't doing anything good for myself, for my family. I wasn't sleeping. I had an anxiety attack right before I started going back to work after I had my second baby, just dreading going back. It just was all bad. My husband was never happy because he was awake with me with my anxiety and things like that. So it just was all bad. So I came home.
Was it difficult to convince him to leave? I mean, obviously he sees everything, but y'all both go there, y'all meet at ESPN. So essentially for so many people, it's looked at as a dream job. Was it a long conversation when you told him, or was it short? If you don't want to reveal that.
First of all dreams aren't good dreams. Let's just leave it at that. All dreams aren't good dreams. Dream job, yeah. Learning that you can work at the ESPN, that ain't no slouch. That's incredible. Knowing you are someone who can get there right out of college with zero experience, you got something. Good for you. But all good dreams aren't good dreams. When I told my husband I didn't want to do it anymore and I wanted to be done, his response was, you can quit today. Because he had seen it all. My husband, for all those who obviously don't know or don't know me, my husband is white through and through. I mean, a country-loving white man. There's no seasoning in my husband whatsoever. Maybe just his last name because he's Italian, but he don't cook, so he's still just white. But he is a
That's my
white
guy.
man
Shout
through and
out to
through.
Matt.
He's incredible, but he's really, really white. Like wore K-Swiss when we first met. Like he's really, really white. And he's from California. So from the West Coast, where like people who are gay, straight, lesbian, don't nobody bother them. No one cares if you're Black, white, in between. No one cares. Live your best life, go to the beach, have a great day. That's just the Southern, way of living in California. So when he got to see everything that I was going through as a Black woman, as his wife, as a big name at ESPN, because I was known. I've been there for a while. I knew a lot of people. all these things. He couldn't believe it. He was appalled and everything. So it was no prolonging. And it kind of turned him off too, because he didn't want to be, at a company or a part of a company that treated people of color that way, especially someone that he loved, the mother of his kids.
Uh-huh.
So.
Yeah, that I remember you texting me and it was I'm coming home. I was like,
For the
yes.
weekend or for
But
real?
but what happened? It's like, you know, so because like to be honest with you, right? So when you leave, like for me, right? When I left, I was like, you don't want to go into bashing because you don't want to put those that you care about or those who really helped you along the way in a position to be at defense, right? So
Yes and no.
yeah, I'm just saying for me.
Okay.
I think if I just really like as somebody just from a management level, the only person it's only two people who was really like I should say like my high soups, and that's Ben and Marcus.
Yeah. Okay.
All like for the most part, the ones I'm like still communicate with are
Right.
gone.
Right.
As far as like in social media, I think Dan is still there and Tim, but for the most part, like the the ones I was like really close
Right.
with,
Everyone's moved on.
and then like obviously like when you was there, I mean I would say what I had to say, but I would like, well, I don't want to put you in a position to like
Right.
grind, But it was like, well, shoot, you gone now. Like now I'm gonna really go off. But I mean, obviously it's a great opportunity. We having this conversation because
Yeah.
it's good times. But
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. I try to get people to understand. Like I didn't have like those type of issues. My issues was the reporting when they did the I was in the content associate program. I was supposed to be promoted in 18 months. Well, these
Right.
Bammers, whoever was doing my reports, just like checking off the boxes. So I got skilled versus highly skilled. I'm like, y'all just screwed me out of $5,000. And I remember when I told shout out to Steve
Which is a
Rayban.
really big deal in Connecticut. Huge deal in Connecticut.
It's literally the difference of living in Bristol or West Hartford. And
Legit.
that's what a lot of people
Legit.
didn't understand, and I think the hardest part for me leaving was just my church up there, because
Yeah.
I had a really good church. What was the hardest part, if any? Was there any hard parts about you leaving, like something that you like miss?
The people.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to me. The people at ESPN are so underappreciated that it's insane. Those people work, and I say those people because obviously I'm not there anymore, but those people work incredibly hard to put things on your TV that you will see once in a span of a time because it's sports. It moves so fast. Those people miss time with their families. Those people drive through snowstorms. Those people make magic happen. Like the things, and I'm sure things that like people at Fox and things like that will say that, and I can't attest to it because I didn't work there. But Fox, NBC, a lot of those places are in big places like LA and New York City and things like that. ESPN is in Bristol, Connecticut. Let that sink in. The biggest place, the biggest television network of sports is in Bristol, Connecticut. Nobody is there but ESPN. That is all. I'm sure there's somebody else and all that, but these people make magic happen. And like when you work in sports or when you work in TV, period, holidays don't matter, weekends don't matter, your nights don't matter, your family don't matter, nothing, just because that's the tricks of the trade. You are, depending on your group or whatever you're doing, none of that matters. You're always at work. The people there are incredible and they become your family. When you have bad days, my aunt passed away my first 2 years working there of an overdose, and I was a wreck. I hadn't been there that long, but I had people coming to check on me. I had to get in my car and drive in the middle of the night so I could be there for the funeral type thing. And managers and stuff like that were texting me the whole time, "Are you okay?" Calling me saying, "Hey, I'll stay on the phone with you while you're driving because we know you got to get there after you did the job that you did."
Yeah.
The people are incredible. I miss that 100%. I still talk to, the ones I'm cool with, but
That's
the
the
people
part
there are
that a
dope.
lot of people there are some good people there. One manager I forgot, shout out to Seth Horowitz. He was
Oh,
somebody, and I gotta give him a shout out because with everything going on, the racial divide, um,
mm-hmm,
everything going on right now, right after, the week after things happened with George Floyd, he texted me, just said, "Hey
mm-hmm,
brother, just want to let you know I'm thinking about you." And you
mm-hmm.
never forget that. And those bonds, and you know how it is. It's a different
Of
bond
course.
when you
Of
work with
course.
somebody overnight. Because I
Yeah.
was on that Mike and Mike shift at that time,
Yeah.
3 a.m. to
Yep.
10. And so it's a whole different bond. You really,
Mm-hmm.
if goodness knows, I would hate to be working with somebody I don't like.
That's what I'm saying. And listen, you're not on your P's and Q's and you're not pretty at 3 a.m. I don't care how much you try.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what haircut you get. It's 3 a.m.,
That's
dog. I'm not.
true.
Don't ask me that. The coffee machine ain't even up. Like,
Yep.
don't say nothing to me.
And you might be catching people who on their way home give a
And they
you.
done had a long night.
Yep.
So, yeah. I would catch Bucci all the time. I'd be like, "Hey, Bucci, what's up?" He's like, "Alex, I'm so tired." I'm like, "Good luck going home," because Bucci lived like an hour and some change away.
Mm-hmm.
So and he was like late night Sports Center. So it's not like he could just leave. Like he's there until like baseball games is over. Fine, like no thanks.
I never forget the
Thanks.
day before Ariana was born. So she was supposed to come on that Friday, but she wanted to be stubborn.
Mm.
I was
She's a woman. It's fine. Carry
I
on.
decided to go in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember getting there, and Cassidy Hubbard and PJ Carlissimo, he had just bought some pasta for the NBA
Mm-hmm.
Tonight crew. And they was like, "Yo, come on in." She was like, "You guys got to be here early." And I said, "Well, really, I wouldn't be here till 3, but I came in about an hour and a half early because my daughter is about to be born." She's like, "Wow," you saw her eyes light up. "Congratulations." Like, PJ, he's having a baby today. And, shout out to you. You was there at the hospital, what, 4 hours, when she was only 4 hours
Couple
old.
hours. Yeah, a couple hours later. Man,
Mm-hmm. She's around here
definitely.
somewhere running around. You said time flies.
Listen, mine are in there, probably giving my husband hell.
Do you think
So
your oldest will remember Connecticut?
I don't think he will.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously there's pictures, but I will.
How old was he when you moved?
Stone is 3.
Okay, so
So
yeah.
he was almost 3 because his birthday's in February and we left in
Yeah.
December.
Okay.
But when I was pregnant at ESPN, I went into labor with Stone doing First Take. Yeah. So ESPN will always hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
It's a thin line between love and hate. We treading. Ooh, we
Yeah,
treading that
but see,
line.
like you just like me, kids were born there
Yeah, I
in
met my
Connecticut.
husband. I had a
Yeah.
free wedding because of where I went.
Talk about that. How
Talk
did
about it. Let's see. I married my
Because
man.
first of all, I just remember like watching. I think I like saw on your Facebook. You was like, I knew you was getting ready to get married, so I was like, all
Mhm.
right, cool. This is gonna be great. Happy.
Mhm.
We had met. Me and the kid had met Matt at the cookout, the one when
Right.
your mother was
Mhm.
mad that LeBron hit the winning shot. But
Mhm.
in all fairness, we was all
Lord,
going
that
for the
woman.
Bulls that day.
Right.
But that's when I finally got a chance to meet him, and then we see him on campus. Always love. So I'm like, yeah, I'm
Mhm.
excited.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, you about to get married like
Like
tomorrow.
in 2 days.
So how did that all come about?
So Kareem White, shout out,
Oh
another
yeah,
fairy godfather. Kareem
okay.
White had to hook up. I don't know what the heck he did. I would have to ask him. He's like, "Alex, yo, you and Matt are getting married, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Hey, call or fill this out and send it back to ABC. Let me know when you do it." I'm like, "Kareem, what?" All right. I don't win stuff like that because I don't put stuff out there to do it. You know what I mean? I'm not one of
Mm-hmm.
those people who are like, "Oh, win a new car, I'm gonna put my name in." No, I think somebody gonna scam me. I'm not doing it. So I was like, "All right, Kareem, it's you. Fine, I got it. I'll do it." And I did it. put it in. They asked like crazy questions, and it was all for the promotion of My Big Fat Greek Wedding 2.
Okay.
So it ended up being they wanted to marry 100 couples in 24 hours. And I was like, when I found that out, I was like, well, that sucks. Like, I don't want to be one of these millions of people, blah, blah. And we had told the guy there after they interviewed us and everything, I was like, listen, I don't want to be one of those people. I think this is terrible, blah, blah. He goes, yeah. He goes, but don't you work at ESPN? I'm like, and he's like, well, ESPN is our sister network. Let's just make sure it's on the up and up, because at ESPN, you can't accept gifts and bribes and all those things, because people will think like, oh, Alex was giving some Skittles. That's why she has LeBron looking the best that he can look. Like,
Yeah.
no, LeBron was just great that night, but that's fine. So it went through legal and went through all these things, and we found out, hey, we can do it. This has nothing to do with anything. This is a promotion type thing. We're two people. Great. So ESPN, we didn't even tell ESPN. I don't know if Kareem did. I don't know how ESPN found out, maybe because of the lawyers and everything. But ESPN had their photographers taking pictures of us and everything. We had to sit in Sports Center and tell our story, all these things. And so we got the call after legal and everything saying, hey, you guys can do it. April 28th, you're going to get married. We're like, oh, okay, great. April 28th, 2017, let's do it. And she's like, no, April in like 2 weeks. And I was like, no, we can't do that, because Matt's family's from California.
Mm-hmm.
My family's in Baltimore. Everybody got to take off work because everybody works. There's no way this can happen. So we told them no. No, thank you, but thank you. Called Matt's mom, who's this little Italian lady, and we had told her about it, and she was like, oh my gosh, are you guys gonna do it? We're like, no, are you crazy? There's no way you can buy a ticket from California to Bristol, and that's not overly expensive in the time that we need. And she's like, if you guys want to do it, you make it happen. Make it happen. Like, you guys need to do this. If you feel like this is something you want to do, we'll be there, no problem. Brian, I lied to you not. We called them back and said, just kidding. We'll do it.
So your
By the
mouth
end,
again.
I know
Just
my
in
mouth.
a
I
nicer
told
way.
you, listen. The Lord is working. I don't know if it's fast or slow, but he's doing something. But no, so we called them back and we said, okay, we'll do it. Fine, blah, blah. My only stipulation was that I needed it to be April 29th, because that was our original wedding date. It was going to be April 29th, 2017. And the lady, I remember, she's like, okay, let me talk to some people and see what we can do, blah, blah. A guy called back, Doug, and he was the producer of the show, because this was all on TV for Good Morning America. He called me back. He said, okay, listen, I can do it, but you have to get married at midnight. We're like, midnight? Didn't we hear, like, y'all didn't hear us say, like, our parents, my grandmama, who's not about to be up at nobody's midnight, this isn't going to work. So we said, no again. Whatever. Called the family back, said, just kidding. This is all in the span of like a day.
Wow.
So we did all of that and talked to them and said, hey, we're not going to do it. It's going to be at midnight, blah, blah. And so Matt's mom, being a genius that she is, was like, wait, why is it going to be at midnight? What's so special about midnight? I was like, I don't know. Let me call the guy back. I said, listen, why midnight? Like, why can't we do it in the middle of the day? He said, because if you do it, you would be the prime time wedding of New York City. And I was like, well, you didn't say all that when we spoke on the phone before. So, and that's ended up being what it was. We got married at midnight, which was the prime wedding for New York City. And we got married alone. We didn't have a million other couples around us. My dad was able to walk me down the aisle. It was legit a normal wedding, just with the cameras, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you really had a a fairy tale career at
Yep.
ESPN when you
That
think
I've
about it.
almost ruined multiple times.
Like,
Thank you, Jesus.
You went, a girl literally came back a woman and a wife.
Mm-hmm. And a mom.
Yeah, how
And a
about
mom.
that? What would you say when you look back over your career? What was the glass breaking moment? What was the moment when you realized I'm good at what I do, and this is what I'm supposed to be here?
I don't know if I ever had one of those moments. Things change.
Mm-hmm.
I met Matt when I was 25 or 20. No, I met Matt when I was 24, getting ready to turn 25. I was buying my first house and everything just started making sense, I guess. And that's kind of when ESPN became an afterthought. I think that's when I really started having that moment in, the back of my head of, is this it? Like, I'm good. I
Mm-hmm.
know I'm really good. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have done all these things if I weren't. But there's no way this can be it. There's no way this can be it. Like, it's got to be more to it. And then obviously I went on and got married and had kids and all those things. But life is about evolving.
Mm-hmm.
I went there one way. I did what I had to do there. But my purpose for real was to meet my husband. I wouldn't have met Matt. Matt is from San Jose, California. No way our paths would have crossed, what I mean, without like ESPN. And I think that's when you kind of got to look at the bigger picture of, okay, all of this happened. My mom got sick, which sucks. But if she wouldn't have got sick, I would have stayed at West Virginia, been in school for eternity, been a forensic, and the rest would be history.
Mm-hmm.
But that turning point of my mom getting sick, which again sucks to high heavens, opened up my blessings. If I wasn't obedient in believing that God, wants you to take care of your parents, when they get a certain age and you take your place as, the oldest or whatever, if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't have what I had. That moment for me that you asked me about was when I left. That's when I had that moment of, I made it, I'm good, and I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it anymore.
So you too, there would be never, they couldn't offer you say a few 100,000.
They did.
Oh.
I was offered a lot more money.
Mm-hmm.
I was offered a 9 to 5, which we all know would have been for like 2 weeks. And they say, just kidding, we need you to come back to where you're going, just because it's the line of the job. I was offered the moon and stars as far as the television network can go.
Mm-hmm.
And I turned it down because of my family.
Right. I think that's important. People don't realize that. Like, I think a couple years ago, my son said to me, "Well, you want to get back in sports?" And I said, I want to get back, but at the
At
time,
what cost do you want to get
right?
back?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially like, maybe when he's older. And that's what I said, when
Mm-hmm.
they're older, it's different.
Right.
But right now, like my dad is a tractor trailer driver. And I
Okay.
remember when he's been with his company for, I'm 34, my sister 32 years.
Okay.
And I said to him, his best friend, they met there, but then
Mm-hmm.
his best friend left, got his own truck. And I said, how come you
Mm-hmm.
never got your own truck? Well, why don't you go on the road? And he said, that's not the road. That's not the life for a family. I said, what you mean? He
Mm-hmm.
said, because I'm going to be gone all the time and this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And now being older, I understand why he never did,
Mm-hmm.
being able to come home every day. Of course, when
Yeah.
you're younger, you're thinking, well, you're on the road every day during the summer. I can get on the ride and
Right.
see the world. But
Yeah.
it would have been so stressful,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what, yeah, some people make it work in sports. We even
And God
said,
bless them. People who can do
mm-hmm,
it, God bless.
yeah.
We weren't those people. We missed each other. Matt and I would high five the kids in the parking lot.
Oh, wow.
Like, high five, I love you, take this baby, I have to go in.
Yeah.
That we didn't have time together.
I can
Maybe one
imagine.
day. And that was him coming out now because I have to take Stone to a doctor's appointment. But like now, leaving ESPN gave me my time with
Mm-hmm.
my family, which I didn't have. I
Yeah.
chose time with my family over sports. Sports
Wow.
was my love when I first started. Sports has taken an insane backseat.
Well, it's amazing. We'll see, your boys out there on the field, and then sports will be back. Hey, you'll be able to
Listen
produce
now.
their own highlight reels.
Listen. I don't know about out on the field. I've banned my sons from playing football. Don't try
Well,
me. Don't ask me no questions.
baseball.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
Baseball.
baseball,
Cool. All
lacrosse.
right.
Mine is on his way to lacrosse practice now. My wife is taking him
Oh.
because I'm So, but I know you got to go. Let the people know where they can find you.
Listen, find me on Twitter, Alexandria. I think it's like O_Alexandria. I think that's it. Is that my name on there? No, it's just no, that's Instagram. Instagram is O_Alexandria, and Twitter is just Alexandria. Look at that. I don't promote myself. I promote other people, man. Somebody else do something great so I can promote you.
Oh man, Alex, I appreciate you. I know you squeeze this time. You got family. Give Matt and the kids my love, and I love being the kid. Thank you for coming on.
Of course, no problem.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, hope you really enjoyed that conversation I had with Alex. Next week, we are staying in the ESPN realm as I speak with JC Shinoni. JC and I met when she interviewed me for Laura Oakman's program, Galvanized Sports, the Who Not Do series. So make sure you check that out if you haven't done so yet. And I promise you will enjoy this interview next week, as she was on the team that produced The Last Dance. So we get into that and so much more. So folks, remember, do not let anyone set up a ceiling that you can't break through. This podcast was recorded and edited by B Waters Productions. The music by Hypno Beats. Make sure you follow him at Hypno_Beats with a Z on Instagram.